JB, look, don't leave the show in rage, okay? But you're probably going to get angry with me, man. So can I ask for your forgiveness?
Sure, all is forgiven.
All right. So Stephen A. Smith wants to run for president of the United States. There you go. You all heard it.
What are some of the things that Democrats have been doing that have turned you off and that make you say the party needs to be purged? Who needs to be purged from?
Purging the party. Get ready. Guess what needs to be purged? Radical leftists in the Democrats.
First of all, do you have any names?
Well, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to do that to a lot of people, but we know who the extreme left is. We know how they go about operating. We know what we lean towards when it came to open borders. We know that the spending was excessive, even though it's excessive on the Republican side as well. I think a $37 trillion budget, when Republicans try to act like it's just the Democrats, that's not true. But the Democrats certainly shouldn't be absolved from blame in that regard. Certainly with identity politics, woke culture, cancer culture, I thought that was something that ravaged our nation psychologically, because you had people literally scared they were going to lose their jobs if they pronounced the wrong pronoun, for crying out loud. It got that bad, and I think that's one of the reasons that Donald Trump is in office today, because so much stuff, a lot is focused on the individual as opposed to actual policies itself. I'm talking about what they preached and what they talked to the American people about, more so than what they're doing. The kind of messages that they were disseminating was incredibly uncomfortable to listen to and to hear. And I thought that it wasn't emblematic of what most Americans are thinking about. They're trying to pay their mortgages, rent, buy food and groceries, pay gas, and deal with the prices, the cost of living. And they want safety in the streets. That's primarily what most American citizens are about, trying to live in peace and harmony. And that's not something that I think either side has promoted along the way. And that's why I think the state of the nation is what it is at this particular moment in time.
So, had to pause there because there's a little bit more to this video. JB, he's making a list, checking it twice. Stephen A. Smith running for the Democratic Party. Oh, did the Democrats find their Trump?
No. They haven't. Really, Stephen A. Smith is just a radical moderate, right? And he is trying to sound like he's more populist, but in reality, he's not. And this is one thing that grinds my gears, is the people who confuse liberals for the left. And the thing is like, for him, he's actually confusing the two, because it's the liberals that are really the ones who are focused all on identity, when in reality, the left is more focused on class. And of course, class and identity actually do intersect, but at the same time, he's focused on the liberals who focus only on identity, period. And in reality, like for instance, he talks about, the cost of living. While that's very true, the question is that how do we fix that, right? And somebody like myself would say, well, we need infrastructure. We need a living wage for everyone. We would need to have healthcare that is extended to everybody, regardless of the abilities to pay, regardless of financial status. We need housing for all. These are the things that the left actually fights for. We need workers really to be able to have more of a say, more of a democratic say in their workplaces, things like that, right? But at the same time, he's talking about, oh, well, people want peace in the streets. They don't want crime, things like that. One of the biggest promoters of crime is actually being in poverty, because people commit crimes of opportunity and crimes of desperation. So how do you reverse that? Well, you get rid of the desperation and you increase more opportunity. But how do you do that? Well, if you make sure that people have housing for all, if you make sure that people have education for all, if you make sure that people have healthcare for all, that cuts crime down quite a bit. So people like Stephen A., well, he reminds me of an Andrew Yang, where he's good at diagnosing the problem, but when it comes to actually solving it, it's not. It ain't it. So that's what it seems like to me. To say that he's the Democrats' version of a Donald Trump, I would hold on that one.
Agreed.
Last month said that there are clearly other people more qualified to be president than you. So what do you say to somebody
Absolutely.
out there who's watching, who thinks you have no political experience, no foreign policy experience? You're a gifted TV sports commentator without question, but are you really prepared to be president of the United States? How would you answer that?
I would say they're absolutely right. I'm not prepared. I'm not qualified. I have no political history whatsoever. I've never been interested in politics a day in my life. How did I come to this conclusion where I've left the door open? I'll tell you how. Elected officials have come up to me. Folks in the streets of America come up to me every single day. Not only that, my own pastor, A.R. Bernard from Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn, New York, said to me, show respect to people who love and support you by leaving the door open, because you never know what God has planned for you or for us as a nation in the years to come. Just leave the door open. So that's what I did. I know that I have a voice, whether it's on ESPN, whether it's with the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube and iHeartRadio or any place else that I go. I know that when I speak, millions upon millions of people hear me. One would surmise that they listen to some of the things that I say. And then I look at our politics. How worse can it get? Do you realize right now, and I'm saying this facetiously because I know that you do, Jake, doing what you do every single day. Do you realize that if you are an elected official, your real work is with the campaign? Once you get into office, literally you can get away. I'm talking about the nation's capital specifically, not state and local politics, just the nation's capital. You realize that you can literally go on Capitol Hill and all your job is to do is to disagree with the other side. You don't even have to do anything else. Whatever the other side feels, you feel the opposite. That's not work. That's not going across the aisle.
Actually, that is work because they're reading the script. That's how things don't get done. That's the whole game of politics. They have to play the game. They hate each other, but it's kayfabe. Behind closed doors, they're laughing. They're talking about, oh yeah, you see how I did that fake steel chair and looked like I hit you for real? Did you see how I did that power drive? You see how I did that clothesline? Did you see how I did that drop kick? I mean, that is what we see all the time in Washington, D.C. But they're friends with each other. Everybody in Congress has an AIPAC babysitter. Everybody in Congress knows each other. They're all friends. They're all buddies and pals. They get along with each other all the time, every time. I mean, what else is there to say about this? The fact that he would go out there and say, well, no work gets done, that's the point in Congress. 99% of the time, they're on the phone talking to their donors to get more money, to run for an election, and in turn, once they get reelected, they go ahead, write legislation to benefit their donors, I mean owners, and they go right back to the phone, calling up their donors, asking for more money for the next election cycle.
Yeah, and to add to your point, Stephen A. Smith just made a great argument for running independent or third party.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, if he runs within the Democratic Republican Party, he basically just stomped all over his last statement.
Right.
He just lit it on fire.
Exactly.
So it's like, if Stephen A. really is about like running for politics, maybe, it could be, representative, it could be senator, it could be president, whatever. If he runs within the duopoly, he just lit his credibility on fire because he knows that that's what they're going to require of him, is to disagree with the other side.
Exactly. He's not serious. He's not serious. Exactly.
It's not maneuvering your way through the terrain, through the political terrain, and really negotiating on behalf of your constituency and the American people. All we're doing is engaging in acrimony and hate. And as a result, the American citizens are suffering. So when I look at it from that standpoint, and I think the kind of impact that I could have as a centrist, as a moderate, as somebody who believes in being sensical and engaging in common sense, unfortunately, I believe that if I did take this very, very seriously and I moved forward and I decided that I wanted to be a politician, do I believe I could win? You're damn right. But it's by default. It's not because I'm the most qualified candidate in the world. It's because of the state of our politics in the nation's capital, the politicians that we're looking at, and the fact that we don't believe for 1 second that they are serving the interest of the American people, nor are they interested in it. People look at me and they know one thing: I would be interested in serving the American people and doing what's in the best interest of this country. That means you, that means me, that means the Black community, the Hispanic community, the white community, everybody. Because if all of us are rife with chaos, all that's going to lead to is America's destruction. And why would we want to be a part of that? So again, I'm not qualified. There are plenty of people that are qualified, more qualified to be here, practically everybody. But are you going to win? And are you going to be committed to doing what's in the best interest of America? I know I'm that kind of person. That much I will say for myself. I'm not interested in division.
So then I'll ask, are we going to have to wait 45 days for policies on your campaign website like we had to wait for Kamala Harris? I used to play a game with my audience. Did she put policies on her website again? Has she done it? Has she done it? Step right up. Has she done it? No. Nope. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. Zip. Zada. No way. No bueno. No dice. No nothing. So, if that's the case, what I want to know is, Stephen A. Smith, what are your policies? Are you going to talk about the Middle East crisis? Like, there's an ongoing, region fire happening there. Lebanon, Syria, Iran, Yemen, Gaza, the West Bank. We also have an economic crisis. We have a political crisis where our politicians can be bought. Check out Unusual Whales and see how much your favorite lawmaker has made a financial killing in the stock market. I mean, there's so much to unpack here. What's his main issue? You're going to talk about Medicare for all? Hey, JB, Medicare for all, that hits close home to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Stephen A was really serious about running, number one, he would run outside the duopoly, number one. Number two, he would focus on the corruption. I reference Eric from Savvy Sabs, her producer, where he came up with MCDS, and where he talks about the 11 demands. And so, look, just that as a basis, I mean, 99% of all Americans can get on board with at least 50 to 55% of all the policies that's in, the 11 demands. Like at the very least, like people who are conservative can get on board with that. And so, that being said, I don't think that I'm going to quote my friend Nick from RBN. I think Stephen A. Smith is deeply unserious, because the thing is, like, if he really was about pushing for something that all Americans can really get on board with, then look at the polls. Like, for instance, Medicare for all is even popular among conservatives, but to him that would be far left, even though conservatives actually agree with it. You know what I mean? So, like, if he wants to control the border, all right, then stop the sanctions on some of these countries that you're doing. Stop the intervention. Stop the destabilization that you're doing in the global south. Okay, fine. Then if they want to go into a socialist government, let them do it. And if you think that it's going to fall, all right, let it fall on its own. Stop the blockade and the sanctions on Cuba. Go ahead, right? If you really want to be on the side of the people, okay, then pull off funding from Israel. They're an independent country. Let them do their own thing for a little while. See how that works, right?
Exactly.
Because ultimately, what it really is about keeping the American people within the same box, and that box is, one side of the box is the Republicans, one side of the box is the Democrats. And so it's like, well, I'm the safe moderate. I'm in between, and I can actually do something from the right and something from the left, and we can mix it together. But ultimately, it's keeping you within that same realm that's still causing a lot of the issues that we still have today. And he's not really interested in going outside that box and actually fixing the things that are fundamentally wrong with this country. And ultimately, that means dismantling certain systems that make this country the way it is. But he's not interested in dismantling systems. He's interested in managing the systems.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so going forward, get away from celebrity culture, people. Everybody, like Donald Trump, Yes, I get it. He's somebody who's been involved in politics and media for a long time. All right. It's not the first time we had a celebrity, a musician, an actor, actress run for office, obtain office. But at the end of the day, they're people just like us. And the thing is, it's a cult of personality. And if you think that person and who they are on TV are going to be exactly how they're going to be running the country, no, once you step into this into the big game of Washington, D.C., there are rules, there are systems, there are factions. And when I say factions, I'm not talking about Democrat and Republicans, because there are factions within factions in which Democrats and Republicans are buddy with each other. And we're wondering, why are they in the same room with each other? There's so much fighting. There is so much backstabbing in DC. It's a miracle that this country is still pushing forward because of the slowness and brutality of the monster called bureaucracy. So, all right, 2028 is going to be content gold for all of us in independent media. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and one more thing, Kit, I just want to bring out. Just because you have a microphone and a camera on your face doesn't make you a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen A should know better. Because the thing is that just because he has people yes-manning him all day, every day, doesn't mean that it's actually a good idea. And I always say, like, for instance, as somebody that's in independent media, I always, and a lot of my fellow people in independent media would say this, podcasters shouldn't lead movements.
No.
We people that amplify, right? But we shouldn't lead them. I'd say the same thing about TV personalities. TV personalities should not be the ones that try to be leaders.
I agree with this. Yeah.
TV personality doesn't mean you have the best ideas. It could be somebody who's boring as shit. But the thing is that they actually are the person with the best ideas. But you would never know because they're not in front of the camera and they don't have a microphone to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Just to add on to that, because I had the Illinois Green Party reach out to me and ask me, hey, do you want to run? And I'm like, guys, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff here, taking care of my show, working on projects, everything. Thank you, but no thank you. Because, first of all, I know me, I do have a bit of an anger problem, and just I try and keep that calm and cool so you don't see it on the camera, everything. Because sometimes, I feel like snapping and really yelling, but it would come off as like, whoa, what happened here? But there's also the fact of, look, I've seen firsthand when you see podcasters lead organizations, okay? I remember a thing called Justice Democrats. I remember a thing called Wolf Pack. And now we got Rebellion Pack and Jank. It's like, Jank. I love the enthusiasm, but buddy, please stop. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, JB. Yes or no? Brianna Wu was in charge of Rebellion Pack, right? For a while?
What I'm hearing that she still is.
Oh, wow. She still is? Oh, my God.
Or she may have stepped down or went into the background. Either way, the fact that Cenk Uygur actually, chose her makes me question Cenk Uygur's integrity as well.
For those of you who don't know about all this podcaster stuff, look, I get it, starting an organization, but, I get starting a movement. And here's the thing, because if I have to bring up a difference about platforming a movement and being a leader of a movement, Jank creating Justice Democrats, I get it. And, when you have Stephen A. Smith trying to say, oh, yeah, I'd run for president and reform the Democrats. Okay, fine. You've had the microphone and camera in your face. But look at Force to Vote. And, everyone was saying that Jimmy Dore was leading it. No, he was amplifying it because he found Force to Vote through DSA and their tactics. Like, hey, this seems like let's do this. And a lot of people got around together and saying it was a good idea. So Force to Vote, and it still remains. And what came out of Force to Vote? The March for Medicare for All. There wasn't one person saying I'm leading it. It was different groups. I mean, we had one here in Chicago. There was one in New York. So there is a difference. It's just, to your point, JB, people need to break away from celebrity culture. I'm going to give you the final word.
No, you're absolutely right. And, it's sad that we have to look at that people are fooled into looking at celebrities. And there's this thing in our mind that, well, they ended up on TV and they ended up in front of the media. So there has to be something of value to them that would be great in our lives. And it's like, no, because a lot of times people end up doing some underhanded and nefarious things, not all the time, or they end up just playing the game in order to get there. And you don't think that they're still not going to play the game in order to achieve in politics, which means screwing us over? Like, no. See, that's the problem. The celebrity culture, and even Malcolm X talked about this, right?
Yeah.
About how they try to put us up as leaders, right? Trumpet players, comedians, comics, and we're done. The celebrification, and we're so much so that we're even creating celebrities out of our politicians.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Jasmine Crockett. She became a celebrity overnight. AOC, a celebrity. Bernie, a celebrity, right? So either they become a politician and they become a celebrity, or they're a celebrity and become a politician. When in reality, we need to just get rid of having this celebration of these famous people out of our minds and start looking at like what is best for us materially and just who has the best idea, and then go with that. No matter if the person is famous or not, right? And this is why I referenced, Eric Thomas's 11 Demands, is because how many people know who Eric is? People don't know who Eric is, but at the same time, you look at those demands, you're like, oh my gosh, those are some things I can actually get behind. And so it's like, here's a guy who nobody really knows anything about, but has come up with some great policy prescriptions. And the thing is, like, he's not a celebrity. Like 99% of the people probably in this chat don't even know who I'm talking about. And that's a good thing, because it shouldn't be about the person. It should be about the policy. But the problem is we're so stuck behind the person, that our politics is operated by a cult of personality. And so it's like, oh my God, we end up worshiping the person instead of the policy. And I'm going to reference my homie Afeni. She said, policy is my love language.
Exactly.
So tell me what the policy is, and then I will follow. But the moment you walk away from that policy, I'm walking away from you. And so that's the way it should be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Everybody, wake up to reality. It's about policy. It's not about person. It's not about the face. And I get everyone wants to be part of the it crowd, the group, but seriously, everybody, wake up to reality and break away from the duopoly. Otherwise, we're all doomed.